had five things for $5. Yeah,
Hey guys, welcome to video number 2 in the series of trying to thrift from $20 up to $10,000 to fill up my travel fund and get me back experiencing some holidays again. If you saw the last video, you would have seen that there are a couple of items that I wanted to go back and have a look at the thrift stores near me and see if they were still available after I'd done a little bit of research. I ended up picking up one of those items and I'll get into that in a second. But what I've decided to do, like starting off with such a small amount of $20, is to try and be a bit more smart with it. It's very, like you would have seen in that last video, I picked up that red Kathmandu shirt. I haven't listed it yet. If by the time that I post this video and I have listed it, I will put the price up here of what it's listed at. And if it sells, I'll also put that up here somewhere as well. But yeah, essentially that was like a lesson that I should have learned that I did learn a long time ago when I started doing some reselling. As I mentioned, I did a little bit of reselling about 6 or 7 years ago. And like you want to take your time and not rush and not get too excited. I saw the Kathmandu label, I saw the shirt was in really good nick, so I grabbed it. It was in the men's rack, and it's a ladies shirt. It's quite large, and I'm not that sure if it's going to sell. I picked it up for $5, so we'll see. If I can make a little bit more money on it, that's cool. But what I want to try and do is maximize the potential for the return on what I'm spending. And what I've learned from watching a whole bunch of other videos, there's this one guy who is based here on the Gold Coast. It looks like he's probably one of the top sort of like eBay reseller content creators in Australia, and he's based here on the Gold Coast as well. And the magic sauce for him is in DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, and CDs. Particularly when it comes to the DVDs and the Blu-rays, particularly complete box sets. So keeping that in mind, that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye out for initially as I get started. And if I do see something on the racks, when it comes to clothing or any of the other sort of like items that are at thrift stores, if I see anything that really catches my eye and I know that there's value in it, I'll grab them. But to start off with, I'm going to start off at the thrift stores anyway with DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs, and games. And when I go to the garage sales, that's more of a mixed bag. You sort of never know what you're going to see there. So with that, this is the first DVD purchase of the series. So what I've picked up is seasons 1 and 2. So the complete seasons 1 and 2 of The Leftovers. I know this show. It's a fantastic show, and it's got a bit of a cult following. So I picked this up for $12. Some of the comps that I found for just the individual Blu-rays are upwards of $30 each. So I think I'm probably going to see, like I picked it up for $12. I think I'm probably going to see somewhere around about $25 to $30 profit out of this. The DVDs, the Blu-rays are in fantastic condition. The sleeve and everything's in really good condition too. Like it's not as brand new, but it's in really good shape. So yeah, I'll put the thing up on the screen of what I eventually list it for. And like I said, if it sells, then that will also be up here as well. So for $12, I thought that was a really good start. So that takes the total, including the shirt from the other day, to $17. Which leaves me with $3. I think I've got the $3 in my pocket at the moment. Just want to double check that I have that before I go into the Lifeline. Yes, there's my $3. Now this other item, as I mentioned in the first video, I'm not going to give myself any rules or anything on this video series. But so what I've done is I've gone back to one of the thrift stores. They had a pair of Hoka running shoes, or Hoka, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. They were sitting right there at the front counter, right under the ladies' noses, so it was kind of hard to sort of pick them up and spend too much time investigating them, but they were still sitting there today. So I've gone and I've picked them up. So I don't want to do this too often, but I'm going to go minus. I've actually used my own money with these shoes. So They're Hoka Bondi 8s, men's size 10, UK size. I think they're 10.5 US. They're in really, really good shape. There's like no visible marks or anything on them. The tread's fantastic. There's just like a tiny little bit of like coloration around the bottoms here. You can't even really see it. Like a bit of a cleanup should get them looking really nice. So I picked them up for $30. So I'm going to put the total up here. That's going to take me into the minus territory. I wanted to go strictly from the $20, but I think if you've done any form of reselling before, then you'll know when you see something like this, and you know you do have the means to get it, you've got to grab it. So I picked these up for 30. Comps are upwards anywhere between 90 to, I've seen upwards of $140. So I think if I get these listed at maybe around about $85, they should sell pretty quickly, and that will see me with a profit of around about $50, which is unreal. So once again, listed price will be here, and if they sell by the time the video comes out, that will also be up here right now, and a running tally here somewhere as well as we go. All right, so that leaves me with $3 out of that initial $20. I'm going to go into the Lifeline store up the road here, and what I'm going to be looking for, I'll have a look in the DVDs and the Blu-ray section here, but they're generally in pretty bad shape. I'm going to look in the toy section for some plushes. This is where I picked up that NFL huddles that I showed you guys in the last video. And I'm also going to have a look at some mugs. If I can find a decent mug for around about $1.50 or something like that, I'll grab that. I want to be looking for something that I can get anywhere between $8 to $15 profit on for a mug. So I'll take you in with me, film what I can, and yeah, I'll see you guys after I'm done. Okay guys, so it's now the night after yesterday when I made the first part of the video. After I got done at the thrift store, I had to get moving and couldn't make the I couldn't let you know what I got because I just had to get home. I was running a little bit late. My brother and my friends and I went up and saw Metallica last night, so that was the priority. But yeah, so today I had a day off work, obviously after the show. So I got a bunch of stuff done here, as you would have seen in that video before. Anything that I mentioned in that video that I've got a listing up for, there's a screenshot there of what I've listed it for you. So I'll run you through what I saw at the Lifeline that I went to, and I did grab a couple of things, and I grabbed a couple of things today. And we'll see how I go. Like, I think after today, that's got to be like the end of going into like staying in the negative territory with trying to start with that $20. I've seen a couple of things that I just had to grab, and hopefully you'll understand why I've done that. So as I mentioned, I wanted to try and look for some plush toys and some toys at the Lifeline, the big Lifeline here on the Gold Coast. We've got as well as the normal thrift stores, we've got a big sort of like, it's a massive, the sort of like the plant where everything comes in, and they sort everything out and gets distributed from there. But they've also got a massive warehouse there with heaps of furniture and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, no good on the toys, no plushies, no 1983 NFL huddles this time around. It's actually been about probably 4 or 5 years since I've been there. They've changed the setup there a little bit. But I've always had good luck there with mugs. And if you know anything about reselling, mugs can be really good. And I think Gary V, made that really popular, like 5 or 6 years ago with his mug life, with his garage sale flipping that he was doing. So I'll just give you an example of like one of the mugs that I found there in the past, and I had to keep this one for myself. I don't want to sell it. I'd actually like to see what I might get for it. We'll see if I can comp it up. But it was just sitting there, and it, there you go. That's what it says. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then you have a drink from it. So yeah, I don't know, like it's it does have a maker's mark on it. So I could probably comp this up, and if I do find a comp for it, I'll chuck that up up here for you now. But in the past, I have found Walt Disney mugs and all sorts of cool stuff there. And the other day was no exception as well. So, and here's another example for you of like getting too excited as well. So I found this 101 Dalmatians mug, 50 cents. I've taken the tag off, but as you can see, it's a licensed Disney mug. You can look, I mean, it doesn't have a maker's mark on there, but it does say licensed for Disney. And I got this one home, and when upon closer inspection, when I went to list it, yeah, I think you can see there, bit of discoloration on one of the spots there. So I don't think I'm going to list it. I might. I'll see how I go, but I generally don't like to, like any of this kind of stuff, it generally has to be in pretty good shape. This doesn't appear to be like a really rare mug or anything. I mean, it's got a website address and stuff on there, so it's not like it's from the 90s or the 80s or anything like that. So yeah, there's a little lesson there. There's a 50 cents that's been burnt pretty much. But the other mug that I did find was really cool, and that is this one here. So this is Little Miss Giggles, and this is a Mr. Men Little Miss copyright 2015 THOIP, a Sanrio company. So I'll put the screenshot up here of what I've listed it for. There are a couple of I could only find one comp for this particular one, and the other ones in this series sort of go for half decent money. So let me just double check for you guys what I've actually listed it for. So yeah, I've put it up for $12.99 plus postage. All of my research that I did says that I probably could have listed it for somewhere between 15 to 20. But I mean, I got this for a dollar. So turning $1 potentially into 13, I think it's around about a 2,000% profit. So that's awesome. So that was a dollar. The 101 Dalmatians one was 50 cents. So that's $1.50 in mugs. 50 cents that I've burnt, and $1 potentially into 13. And as you can see, like it's in fantastic shape. It doesn't have any fading, chipping, no hairline cracks or any cracking on the ceramic on the inside or anything. So that was a really good find. That one is listed now, and let me just have a quick look. It's had one view since I posted it a few minutes ago. On the note about that particular place with some mugs, I've got a couple here that I did get years ago that I am going to add, and that will be free money for me in this challenge. So the first one is this Baltimore Orioles mug. It doesn't have a maker's mark on it, but I did have a look, and I did find one or two of this one in particular that were listed. I couldn't find any sold in Australia. But I've seen these selling for around about $20 or $30 in the US. So I could potentially maybe look to probably list this one up for around about the same price as the Little Miss Giggles one, around about maybe $12 to $15. And I'm sure there's an Orioles fan in Australia who'd be keen to grab that. And the other one is this Carlton Blues one that I found. So I'm not an AFL fan at all, but you don't have to just buy things that you know and things that you like. These can be really popular. This one has got like a list of all of their premierships, 1995 being the most recent one on this mug. I'm not sure if they've won any since then, but there isn't a maker's mark on this one. The comps that I'm putting up on the screen now, the ones that have gone for a decent price are by a company called Westminster. And I'm sure they're along, in the past, there's been other sort of like officially licensed mugs that have got maker's marks and stuff on them that would make them a bit more valuable. But I'm not sure what I'm going to list this one for yet. I'm probably, if I do figure it out, I'll put it up in the next video. But that's just an example for you from the one op shop over the years where I found, some decent mugs, and you can turn them into pretty good money because you generally pick them up for, 50 cents to $1.50. And then you can, some of them, I mean, the Disney mugs, you can turn them into 50 cents into $20. So, so hopefully Little Miss Giggles will come through for me and help kick the profit along to get me back up into positive territory. All right, what are we on to next? I didn't get anything else. Oh, yes, sorry, I did get one more thing at that Lifeline. In the CD section, I got this digitally remastered edition of Led Zeppelin 4 on CD. This was a bit of a blind buy. I saw it there. Obviously, I know Led Zeppelin. I know this record very well, and the CD's in really good shape. So I did have a look at some comps once I got home, and I'm probably not going to see that much out of it. But I got it for, I believe this one was for $1.50 as well. So I spent. Hang on, no, this one was $1. I think I spent $2.50 all up on the mugs and the CD. So yeah, I don't know. Even if I can maybe just try and get $6 or something for this, it'll be another little chip off the negative territory to get me up towards the black again. So I'll get that one listed up. I guess I should mention as well, like all of the things that I'm listing, I don't want to put prices on them that are going to make them sit there for 4 or 5 months and not sell, and like maybe eventually at some stage sell. I'm getting this stuff cheap enough. I've got no emotional attachment to any of it whatsoever. So if I'm picking them up cheap enough, I don't mind putting them at a price that should hopefully just get them out the door, and put some money in the pocket. So that's the general approach to everything as we go along. And as I keep learning more as well. Let me see, what are we up to? So at the thrift store that I was at today, I found this next item, and I actually saw a couple at the Lifeline yesterday, but I didn't want to grab them because I didn't want to dip too far into the negative territory. But I'll put a video up here of these cartridges that I saw at Lifeline yesterday, and I'll actually comp them up and from the video if I can, and see if I can find the comps. But from memory in the store yesterday, I think they were actually going for around about $40 or $50. This one I picked up today at the RSPCA op shop near me, a thrift store, and as you can see, it hasn't been opened. You'll have to excuse me, guys. I'm using my phone because the camera battery was dead, but it's sealed. I got it for $1. As you can see there, it was $22 new years ago, and I think I had a look before, and these are selling recently for around about $14 or $15. So that could potentially be $1 into 15. But generally, if you see these at op shops, in my experience, sealed ink cartridges, and if they're no more than $3 to $5, pick them up. Chances are you could have this listed on your eBay and sell it before you get out of the store. So these are really good, and a lot of people don't look out for them. So while I was at that RSPCA one today, I grabbed a couple more things as well. So in the video from the other day, you would have seen that I had 4 of those TDK sealed 180-minute VHSs. They actually had another 3 of them there. So I grabbed them. So now I've got 7 all up of these sealed VHSs. I'll put the comps up here that I found today, so you can see there's a bit of money in there. So if I get them listed up properly and put them in at a really nice, price to sell, I should hopefully get rid of them. And what I might do is I actually found these 2 as well, with those TDK ones today. So this one here is a company that I haven't heard of before, a brand, IMC, IMC, another 180-minute VHS, and an NEC E180, superior sound and picture. And I comped this up before, and from memory, I think this was actually selling for like $30 by itself. I'll put the comp up here. It might have been just a listed price. It might not have been a sold comp, but yeah, I'll pop that up. So you can see there is money in these. These are all sealed, brand new and sealed. And, you know, like some of these will be from the 90s or maybe even the 80s, and they're sealed. So, yeah, these are really good to keep an eye at the op shops for them. So that gives me a bundle of potentially 9 sealed VHSs that I could sell. So, I mean, I would like to get, if I could find a few more of those TDK ones, it would be good to do a bundle of 10. If not, I've got, you know, like 9 assorted ones there that I can try and bundle up and sell. So there's some options there. And they were $1 each. So I think I spent $12 all up at the thrift store today. And the other item that I grabbed was, you're not really going to be able to see it too well here. I put the photo of the listed price up, but it's a shirt by a designer called Don Bagnado, and he is an Australian fashion designer. It's not super high end, but you know, his suits and his tailored line that he does is quite expensive. These kind of shirts, I know I've bought one myself at Myer or David Jones, one of the department stores, and I mean, they're generally like a pretty expensive business shirt. I think they're sort of around about the $100 mark. I got mine on special, but I picked this one up for $5. So I have listed this one up at, I think, around about 20 something bucks, $27.99, and I've put a best offer on there of around about $22. So if someone wants to come in for any less than 27 bucks, between 22 and 27, they'll get it. But yeah, $5 potentially into 20. It's also, I should say as well, the reason that I grabbed it, it's in really good shape, but I can see that it's brand new. Oh, pardon me, sorry, itchy moustache. I know that it's brand new, even though it doesn't have tags on it, because it's still got the little cufflink thing that they put in, just, you know, so they can do the cuffs up when they're on the rack. So that they haven't been taken out on either of the cuffs. So I'd say someone's bought it, got home, tried it on, and it was no good, or they wore it to a wedding or something once, and yeah, so it's in fantastic condition. There's no running threads, there's no fading, no tears or rips or anything. It's in good nick. So that gets me, I think that's all the money that I've spent in the last couple of days at the start of this challenge. So put up the tally here of where we're at as of this video. I've still got a couple of things to get listed, I think. And then I've got a couple of things that I just wanted to talk to you guys about as well. You have to excuse the doom pile beside me on the couch. So as I mentioned, I had some stuff in my room that I wanted to go through and have a look at, and see if there's anything that I could get listed as well, as free money in the challenge. And I didn't really find that much, but I just found a couple of things that I thought were like, if you like wanted to try and make some money thrifting, and if you're struggling a little bit, like, you know, and that's the reason that I'm doing this, if you can bring yourself to part ways with some of your stuff, there's potentially stuff sitting in, you know, in a storage box in the garage or in your bedroom. If you're anything like me, you might find it hard to throw some stuff away. I'm not a hoarder, but I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure I'm like an undiagnosed introverted version of ADHD, and I do hold on to some random shit all the time and just carry it with me for like every time that I move house. I just seem to carry some of this, take some of this stuff with me. But I do have a stack of like CDs and DVDs and stuff from when I was younger. Unfortunately, I was a little rat bag and I partied a lot when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I didn't look after my CDs or any of that kind of stuff too well, but there is some stuff. So this CD here, I'm into heavy metal and punk rock and hardcore, that kind of stuff. This is an old Fearless Records sampler from 1997. So it's the Fearless Flush sampler. I got this years ago at Cash Converters for like $1. And it's got a bunch of bands on it. So if you're familiar with Strung Out, Straight Faced, Big Wig, Dead Laszlo's Place, White Caps, and a bunch of other bands on it. And I looked it up before, and it's selling for like $30. So, I've held on to this because it's one of the few samplers from back in those days that I've got that I can actually listen to that isn't scratch debuggery. So I'm going to be holding on to this. But I mean, if I was really desperate, I could probably list this up, and I could probably get $15 for it pretty easily. On that note, Dropkick Murphys DVD. Once again, I don't know if I actually want to get rid of it or not, but this is again from like the same era, like 2004 or something like that. And I think they sell for around about $20. So, it's potentially $40 right there. That's just sitting in my cupboard, that could be money in my pocket. And the other thing as well is everything doesn't have to be on eBay as well. Like I will be using other means like Facebook Marketplace, whatnot, as I've mentioned, and Depop and a couple of other things as well. And not everything is going to sell on eBay. So as I mentioned, I'm into metal and hardcore. I used to be heavily involved in the scene. I still kind of am, but I used to play in bands. I used to go to shows, I went to every show. And yeah, like I've still got a couple of bits and pieces from back in those days. And some of that stuff to people within our community some of it can be worth a lot of money. Like we're talking, like bands from like 20 or 30 years ago. And this right here is an example, right? So I'm from the Gold Coast, and I lived in Brisbane for about 12 years. And the Brisbane hardcore scene it was called North Coast Hardcore. It was basically based on the Sunshine Coast hardcore scene, and it eventually encapsulated all of Southeast Queensland and Northern New South Wales. So this was a DVD that everyone in our scene put together in 2003, and it's got these bands probably aren't going to mean much to anyone, but you'll understand why I mentioned them in a sec. So Against were like the most popular band in Brisbane at the time. You got A Secret Death, My Best Mates, shout out to the boys, The Daylight Curse, Morning Tide, Wish for Wings, Slain of Myself, and then the last two bands that I'm going to mention are In Ashes We Lie and From These Wounds. And the reason that I mention those two bands is those two bands actually played with Parkway Drive on Parkway Drive's first ever show. So In Ashes and Wounds played after Parkway. So, like something like that could potentially, to a Parkway fan who, is trying to find out as much as they can about the band from back in the day, and they want to see, potentially you probably see, it's been a long time since I watched this, you'll probably see Winston and some of the boys from Parkway in the footage of this. And on that note as well, so back in those days, there was a really high quality magazine that was put out by a couple of the guys in our scene here, Joel from the Amity Affliction being one of them, and it was called Death Before Dishonor, and I've still got a few copies of it. So this one here has got Winston from Parkway on the cover. This one here's got Parkway on the cover of that one. So this has got an ad for Soundwave 2008 on the back. So that's the vintage of them. So it was just as Parkway were just starting to take off. And the other one that I've got is with one of the greatest bands of all time, Mind Snare, on the cover. Really high quality, glossy magazine with amazing content and interviews and photos and everything on the inside of them. But like they're things that I could potentially sell on Facebook Marketplace. Probably wouldn't do too well on eBay, but I could probably sell these like within an Australian hardcore or punk rock group on Facebook and get some pretty good money for it. So that's just a quick example for you of like some stuff that you can look for outside of, like eBay and traditional things that you can thrift. You might find some stuff in your room from, back in the day that could potentially be some money now. An unopened Tamagotchi, or even just a normal Tamagotchi or something like that from when you were a kid, like if it's just been sitting there, you haven't touched it in 20 years and you need some money, just get the eBay app out. It's got like an awesome feature on it with the AI camera. Like it's going to do all the searching for you. barcodes or an image search and just see how you go. That's what I'm doing. I've still got some more stuff to go through. So if I do find anything else to list for the next video, I'll let you know about that. But yeah, so that's where we're at. So hopefully the next video, we might have a couple of things that have been sold. That would be awesome. So until then, I'm just going to keep hitting the thrift stores, start hitting some garage sales up, and try and get a bit more confident filming as well. So you get a little bit more footage for you guys. So it's not just me talking to the camera on the couch or in the car. But if you've enjoyed this video, I'd love you to go back and check out the first one. If you've checked out the first one and you're here watching this second one now, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I would love it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It will help the video get out to other people who are looking to try and save some money and maybe get themselves out of debt and start traveling a bit more like I'm trying to do as well. So let's keep our fingers crossed that I don't spend any more money until I get some money coming in for these items. Once a couple of things start selling, I'll make another video. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest in the series. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.